Hey, welcome back. This is part two of Neuropathic Style Doodle, Simple Doodle, and Template Doodle, and how to finish them. So I have here a blank sheet of paper. I'm going to make a simple doodle, and a simple doodle is simply making a mark. Now, I confused people yesterday because I made a shape. So I'm just going to make a mark, and it's going to be a check. I'm going to make another mark because the rule of doodle says you repeat step one. So I'm going to make another mark, and I'm just going to keep repeating step one until I get, I could fill the page, I could do however I want to do it. Now, once I get done with step one, then I got to a point where I go to step two, which says repeat that step, and I keep making lots of them. Then eventually I decide I'm going to go to step three, which says draw around step number one. So I'm just going to go around, and I'm going around step number one, and I'm going to go from there, and I'm just going to keep making this and keep adding to it. Now, step number 5 says you repeat step number 4 says you repeat step number 3. Then after a while, then you get to step 5, which says make a new mark. So I could make a new mark, and my new mark's going to go like this, and I will show you what that looks like in just a moment. All right, we're back. I just finished step 1, which was make a mark, repeat the mark. Then I did that a number of times. Then I went to step 3, which was draw around the mark, first mark in step 1. So then I did that. Then I eventually did that enough. And then I got to step 5, which said, once you're done with that, then make new marks. And then step 6 said repeat them. So I've repeated them. Now, step 7 says add contrast. So I could add contrast simply by drawing lines like this. And what happens is I've now created a value, or I've changed the way the space looks in between there. And with traditionally I do simple doodle in India ink, which we paint on with a brush, and it's much more fluid and it gets a quicker response. It generates a different feel and you learn about a new medium. But because of COVID and that I can't get all the supplies to you or ask you to purchase all those supplies, it's just easier if we do it with a Sharpie right now, but it makes it a different project. So I'm adding contrast, and you can already see how that's changed the way this is viewed. I could add other new shapes in here, and they don't have to be the same. I could shade the polka dots in. If I would have shaded them out, then would it be polka dots? Good question. All right, so this is a simple doodle. Okay, there it is. I've completed it with the rule of doodle. Rules of doodle, I made my mark. I repeat step number 1. After a while, I draw around step number 1. Number 4 says repeat step number 3. Then I go to 5, make new mark. 6 says repeat step number 5. Number 7 says add contrast. That's how we end up with something like this. Kind of creates a unique design. Now, the next one is called a template doodle. And template doodle could be, I could draw around anything. I could draw around a shape like this. I could draw around a shape like this. This becomes, a template is something that you can repeat and make over and over. So by drawing around this scissors right here, I've just made that shape. I'm going to do it again. And I will continue to do it and show you. Now, according to the rule of doodle, I have drawn around my template, which was this. It's much more complex than just making a mark. Now I repeat step number 1, and I did that. I redrew that step 1. Now I go step number 2, draw around. So I'm going to take a bigger marker and I'm going to make a thicker line, and I'm going to draw around, and that already adds contrast. And look where I ran into that shape. I'm just going to add that. And I will finish this up and show it to you. So step number 3 says you draw around step number 4 says repeat step number 3. I did that. Now I get to make a new mark, and my new mark might just be, gosh, who knows? It could be vertical lines. Then in the last moments, it says to add, the last step is to add contrast. So here I am adding contrast. So you have to make 2 of these, 2 of the simple doodles,